Well, thanks for staying with us here on Sunrise Live on E on this Tuesday morning with big focus on entrepreneurship. Now, the Small Enterprise Development Agency noted that 72% of micro enterprises as well as 40% of small enterprises are currently owned by women. Women play a huge role in the economy and their numbers are growing in the sector. So joining us this morning to talk more about perhaps the role in women in business, but perhaps also how to capacitate more women, we've got in studio Pulane Mota, who is the founder of Puly's Cupcakes, as well as Alllegro, Dinkwa, who is the founder of Alllegro Communications. Now, remember, to be part of our conversation this morning, you simply give us a call. The number to dial is 011 447 1742, alternatively 1620. And also do feel free to leave your comments on our Facebook as well as our Twitter pages. We'll be taking some of those comments during the progress of the conversation. Ladies, welcome, and happy Women's Month to you.
Thank you. To you too.
Now, let's start off with you as well, Pulane. I mean, just looking at where you started, and we're going to be obviously delving deeper into the chat about some of the challenges as well as some of the fates that are actually confronted by women in business, especially in 2017. Tell us your story. I know that you're currently 26 years old. You started your business when you were 23 years old. How has it been faring so far?
So, I started the business when I was 23. And then in my first year of business, it was so difficult because also not knowing who to trust, and also going after mentors as well, and people not taking me seriously because I was a woman, and thinking that I always think with my emotions, and it was so hard for them to take me seriously in the beginning.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, being able to overcome those various stereotypes that exist about women in business. I mean, you're dealing within the communication industry in itself, so your role is basically to be able to change such perceptions or even to prove such perceptions wrong. How have you been doing it so far, Alllegro?
So far, so good. I mean, like Pulane said, it's difficult, you know. As a woman, you always come across challenges with people. They don't give you the first nod the first time, you know. You have to keep knocking. You walk into boardrooms and they look at you and they're like, well, you're too young, you're inexperienced. Why should we trust you? And you have to prove yourself a lot harder, work extra harder, you know. And I started my company at 21. I've never, you know, submitted a CV in my life, never worked for anybody. So it's been challenging, but 6 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, looking at how the positioning of female entrepreneurs or women in business, statistics show that perhaps even though there was like 11% increase in the amount of women that are actually starting to own small businesses, unfortunately, with that comes the issue of the fact that they're just micro enterprises, or they're enterprises used for the survival aspect. How then do you start practically now moving from the survival when it's just literally to put bread on the table to actually making a profit enough to even hire more staff and capacitate your environment? And how have you done so there, Pulane?
So with me, I always say that if you're the creative in the business, you need to find a partner who's business minded. You need to find people you can trust who will lead you, because if you're the creative in the business, you don't know about tax, you don't know about a business plan. So you need to find those people, and you need to also be in places where you network with people who are doing the same thing as you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for you?
Same thing, but with my line of business, I started off my company with an entertainment blog, and once I started making revenue off that from advertising, I invested back into the business. Instead of, you know, working from salary, client to client, I decided, you know what, let me plow back into the business and grow another division of the company, as opposed to, you know, focusing on one thing. I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket, so that the company grows eventually. And also because my vision was not to employ just myself, like you said, just to survive, you know. It was to have a profitable company that would also create jobs and hire young people.
Now, what kind of challenges are you confronted with on a daily, and what types of realities are you confronted with? And I think as business owners who happen to be women, I think we need to be very specific about that.
So with me, with regards to my business, so I make cupcakes and cakes, and then people don't want to pay. So
they don't want to pay.
They don't want to pay. So, so you'll have a cake here, and then they'll be like, "You're too expensive." So they don't understand the art that goes behind that. It's not only the finished product; it's labor cost as well that's involved in the whole
production costs. My gosh,
So they don't understand the whole the process of you getting to where you are.
Yeah.
Oh wow, they think it's just a cake.
So then how do you overcome such challenges? This is a reality though. So anybody within the manufacturing or even somebody that's providing a service, a lot of times they're confronted with individuals that don't want to pay or feel as though they're not necessarily entitled to pay you. How then do you start confronting those challenges?
So I always say you need to stand your ground And even if you don't want to pay, you'll always find somebody else who sees like the value in your business.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in my line of business, PR and communications, you have clients that in South Africa still don't understand what a retainer is. That, you know, you come on board either for 6 months or 12 months with us as a PR agency, you retain our services, we're not going to make you a superstar overnight. But after them paying 2 months, they start expecting being on the cover of a magazine. And they're like, but I paid you for the past 2 months, what's going on? I'm like, well, my staff has been making calls. All of their data, the phone calls, the meetings, meeting up with different brands to get you sponsorships. When they happen in 6 months' time, where do you think they come from? You know, but you don't want to pay initially. You're like, nah, I'll pay you when I start seeing myself on, you know, GQ or whatever. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. You know, so standing your ground again and, you know, knowing that I can let go of this client, I'm not going to sell myself short, somebody else will come.
Is there a difference between way men and women do business? So it's so funny because we were talking about the stereotypes that exist in business and as entrepreneurs, we all know that maybe women are seen as more emotional. And if they are ones that are more assertive in what they deserve and what they want, then they get called names. So tell us about those realities. I want us to get real about entrepreneurship here because I need us to remove the masks.
I mean, I love how you say we get called names if we're being, you know, more stern and more strict in business because we expect it to be a lot lighter and soft and, you know, more understanding and just kind of take whatever that is thrown at us. I remember having a client of mine saying, well, you're sounding like, you know, somebody who just, you want your cash right now. I'm like, but it's month end. What do you mean? I'm supposed to invoice you. Now you're making it sound like I'm being harsh, but I mean, we provided you a service. Now I'm asking you to pay, settle your invoice. It's business. You know, I'm not your friend and I have people to pay, you know. So at the same time, it's like you're trying to really keep a certain standard and a culture within your business with people then still knocking you down and saying, oh, but you can understand, I'll pay you in 3 months' time, I'll pay you in 60 days. And you're like, what am I going to do in 60 days? How am I going to pay the office rent? What am I going to tell my staff? You know, it's very challenging. But I do believe that men and women do business differently, and I think women do it better. You know, I just think that the spotlight isn't shown on us a lot. And
then how do you start making the spotlight more visible onto women and onto female entrepreneurs? And that's purely because maybe the starting point is for us to become more successful. But how have you done that?
So with me, I'm lucky because there's social media. So social media has played a big role in my company growing as well. And they always say people won't buy if they don't know your product. So that little retweet, the whole comments, it goes to the people's faces.
And then when we're looking at how, because I'm not going to take for granted the fact that people that are watching us are those that are either nascent entrepreneurs or those who are professionals or wanting to go into the entrepreneurial space. Give them advice. How then would you advise them, especially to move from the survival to the profit making, from the profit making obviously to the significance level?
As Pulane said, if you're a creative in the business and you're all about, you know where you want to take your company and you know what services you want to provide, get some help, get somebody, and you're not going to do it alone. You know, initially I thought I can do everything on my own, but eventually I understood that I need to get, you know, an accountant on board. I need to get somebody who's going to run around and tell me what are the laws and fix things, because you don't want to end up having a company and then all you have is like, you know, you're being bombarded with different letters. You don't understand different things you're paying. You know, sometimes you might not even be paying taxes. You're not paying your staff right. You don't, things like that. You need to get your ducks in a row, so you can focus on, you know, being great at the services you provide and have somebody also run the business on the financial side of things and the legal side of things. So that's one thing I'd advise them to do.
And never stop learning as well. And the most important thing is you need to get your finances right, or else your business will fail.
How do we get your finances right in a situation where there is no finances? And maybe this is the question that goes into how is it that you guys are also helping other women as well to get into a similar space or even to a similar mindset? How do you get it right?
I think when you first make, you know, I don't know, first couple of 100,000, you know, don't go shopping, don't book your first holiday. You know, that's what a lot of young entrepreneurs that I've encountered do. You know, they call the company, they want me to mentor them, and as soon as they make a quick buck, they don't invest back into the business. You have to invest in yourself, because you're going to keep knocking at banks and different, you know, potential investors, and they're closing doors at you. But as soon as you make some money, whatever you're doing, whatever service you're providing, plow back into your business, reinvest back back into yourself and grow your business that way. Eventually, you'll get to a point where you're stable enough to say, you know what, I can reward myself. I've worked hard enough. That's what I've been doing. People think as soon as you say you're an entrepreneur, you have money. And I'm like, you don't know, you'll go broke as an entrepreneur. For maybe the first 3 years, it's tough, you know. And then after that, if you're just consistent and you keep focusing and working hard, it will start paying off. So just plow back into the business. Don't rush to get the first pair of heels and whatever it is. You know, all of that will come later.